Thank you for tuning in to Real Sense Now. It's your host, Dawood Bedrosian. Ladies and gentlemen, my guest today is a self-made entrepreneur, an incredible sales life coach, business expert, possibly one of the best I've ever seen. He's trained and motivated hundreds of thousands of people worldwide. He's an author of a captivating and thought-provoking book titled Lessons I Learned the Hard Way So You Don't Have to. He's a podcaster of the successful Dropping Bombs show, a philanthropist, an investor, and a world-renowned speaker. He's the boss of all bosses, aka CEO of Lightspeed VT. Folks, please allow me to welcome Brad Lea.
Well, hello there. How are you, buddy?
I'm doing great. You're off.
This is a radio show.
This is a radio show. We go live across Central Florida, and we are airing in another market in Northern Florida as well, too. And it's a pleasure to have you on so people in our market can hear the wisdom that you have to offer.
Well, I better use my radio voice then.
Well,
hello, everybody. Brad Lea from sunny Fort Lauderdale, Florida. 98 degrees, watching the beautiful waves.
But you're not in Fort Lauderdale. You're in Vegas, right?
Yeah, but that was my radio voice.
Okay. I'm not going to stop you there. Listen, you're often the mentor I turn to get that daily nugget, that truth that you're looking for, whether it's on Instagram, YouTube, or just flipping through some of the many podcasts that you've been featured on some of my friends' podcasts as well, too. You provide some simple, bite-sized clarity in the world of chaos that we live in. You provide common sense in a world where simply there's a lack thereof. And the Pearl of Wisdoms basically set my day off right, and I'm sure it does the same effect for a lot of people. I want to tell you the story about how I stumbled upon you, the real Brad Lea, and I think you'll find it interesting. I was driving into the radio show, and I was thinking about a topic for a Valentine's episode. And you really kind of touched my heart when you talked about a segment about a daily ritual you do where you call 5 people every single morning and you basically reach out and you tell them you love them and you appreciate them. And I learned one thing more than ever that has changed the trajectory of my life, which is we live in a world where relationships is the currency, the capital for the economy that we live in. And that one segment prompted me to basically stand in the possibility of going out on faith, reaching out to you and having you as a guest on my show, which a year later that happened as a result of the application of the power of relational capital through our mutual friend, David Morrell. Can you talk to us about why relational capital is so important today more than ever?
So I don't know how many people are out there looking for financial success, but relationships are the very thing that you're looking for. If you're looking for money, it grows in other people's pockets. So all you have to do is meet more people. The more hands you shake, the more money you make. So I would drop that nugget while they're, driving around sunny Florida. But I can tell you guys this. You have to get to know yourself first. You see what I'm saying? Like, a lot of people, they're apprehensive to introduce themselves, and they don't really know what to say in person or on social media. And a lot of the reason for that is because they don't know themselves very well. They don't have any opinions. So any opinion they hear, they're trying to figure it out right on the spot, which sometimes causes tension and arguments. But more importantly, 9 times out of 10, it just prohibits people from speaking because they really don't think much. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so before you go out and try to build a lot of relationships, make sure, because a lot of you are already in good shape, but make sure that you have a good relationship with yourself. You have confidence, you believe in yourself, you believe your worth is just as good as anyone else's. You don't get FOMO on a regular basis. You're not walking around believing that everyone else's opinion is more valuable than yours.
It's interesting because following your content and understanding your story from the car business to all the different trainings that you've done all over the world, personal development, you touch, move, and inspire people in various ways. And I think you came into the realization yourself by doing what you were doing, traveling, being on the road all the time, that really wasn't the best way to go about learning. In 1999, you founded a tech company called Lightspeed VT, and it's revolutionized virtual training. And you've been working notably with some of the best people in the world that have adopted your technology, whether it was Tony Robbins, Damon John, Grant Cardone, even the UFC. And they rely on that technology to get their content out. How did you come up with this technology, and how does your system work?
I came out with it through necessity. I was traveling around trying to get people to learn how to sell, close, and persuade people. I became very good at developing people when I worked at a company. And I thought to myself, man, I've got the ability to make people, financially more successful, at least just by closing more deals. So I went out on the road to do it, and I realized very quickly that it wasn't taking hold like it used to back at the office. It wasn't effective, and I couldn't figure out what the problem was, because I used to be able to develop people. I'd pull them all out of Starbucks and turn them into salespeople. I'd make a landscaper a top salesperson in no time. But when I went out on the road and started charging people to train their teams, it didn't stick very well, and I couldn't figure out why. So I did a little research and came up with the fact that real training, right, it takes 4 key ingredients. You have to have those 4 things: good content, repetition, practice, and accountability. Most companies, they're not providing repetition. They're providing good content, but no repetition, no practice, and very little accountability. Why? Because it's hard to hold people accountable. I decided I didn't want to travel around saying the same thing over and over and over to a million different faces. I figured I would go say what I have to say in a camera, but I wanted to emulate what I did in real life, so it had to be interactive. So I just thought to myself that, there's probably a better way to train people, get them up to speed by using technology. The internet was, growing rapidly. So I just decided to find some people that knew how to develop, and I created a system that would allow me to pop up interactively and train people while I was fishing or sleeping. And so I filmed myself, and I started selling it to a lot of different companies, and it started working like crazy. And then ultimately I ran into people saying, well, we use this person or that person. And rather than try and close them on I'm better, because these are their heroes in most cases.
Correct.
I just figured I'll go close the people that they wish I had on the system, because they wanted the system. They just wanted different content. They weren't a fan of me. They didn't know my material, but they studied this person or this person. Well, sometimes the best way to close somebody is to sell them what they want, not fight them.
It's so true.
Knock them into something else.
So true. Well, listen, you're an inspiration to me, and I'm sure to many others as well, too. And, what I've come to realize in my own discovery of myself is that people often struggle with knowing how to get started. And what interests me more when I speak to successful people such as yourself is understanding the motive behind the motivation. What was your driving force to get you from where you were to where you're at right now? I know your story, and it's an incredible one.
Dude, think about it. Like, what drives anybody? The desire to get something or arrive somewhere. And so, ever since I was little, I pictured myself in a position that I'm not currently in. So I have to continue to get in that position. Dreams are free. Why dream small, right? So dream yourself into a position that is perfect according to you. Like, you get to create it. So what position in life would you like to find yourself in? And so I just paint that picture. Even as a small kid, I painted that same picture. It's never changed. And now I'm just going after it. So there's really no source of daily motivation. It's just I'm not there yet. Just like you get up in the morning and you got to go to the bathroom. You don't stop in the kitchen and take a leak there, do you? No, you continue on to the bathroom. Why? Because that's where you're headed.
But the truth is, the human condition allows you to walk down a fork in the road. Understanding your story, understanding a lot of the hardships that you went through, leaving your house at 16 years old, having to make certain choices that you did, it could have gone either which way.
Of course.
And you today have a goal, if I can share it with the world, because you've shared it so many times, is reaching that big B which is $1 billion mark. And I'm sure you're on the road to achieving that and multiple more. It takes a greater driving force that allows people to have a much bigger dream than the one that they create. And as you've said before, with the kind of people that you surround yourself with, the reality of actually seeing it becomes more and more believable and more achievable. And I've also discovered that amongst the most important lessons in life is their ability to read and understand people. And you talk about this all the time. And I think you're very astute in connecting with people and understanding them. I've heard you on, Clubhouse calls, and I've heard you talk to some of your other guests. And I find that you have this incredible ability to kind of like, I don't want to say the word size people up, but really understand where they are and kind of like really discover their potential for where they can go in their life. How have you honed that skill?
You ask all these technical questions, and if you follow me, I'm not that technical.
I know, you keep it simple.
I don't have a lot of frameworks. People prefer frameworks like, here's the steps, and I've created a few, but I probably should create a lot more. But at the end of the day, man, I don't really know. Like when you said it could have gone either way. Well, not necessarily. It could have, technically, but not necessarily. What do I mean by that? You decide where your life goes.
Correct.
And if you start to head down a path you don't want, you do what it takes to change it. So guess what? It couldn't have gone any other way, according to me. Now, according to other people, doubting people, parents, naysayers, small thinkers, scarcity mindset, that type of thinker would say, hey, you dropped out of school, you got a big mouth, you're never going to make it, you got to keep dreaming, yeah, whatever, because I've heard that all. But guess what? You are the person that gets to decide, not them, not society, not your parents, not your spouse. Nobody gets to decide but you. So why would you allow outside interference to frickin' change your opinion or change your dream or lower your thinking?
There you have it, folks. We're with Brad Lea dropping bombs. You guys got to stay tuned after the break because we're going to continue asking Brad all of the pearls of wisdom that he has to offer and share with us. I'm so excited to have him on the show. Stay tuned after the break. It's your host, Dawood Bedrasian, right here on Real Sense Now. Hey, thanks for watching. If you loved this video, smash that like button and subscribe to the latest real estate hacks and market updates. Don't forget to ring the bell so that you're always in the loop. Got questions or cool topics you want to see? Drop them in the comments below. I'm Dawood Bedrasian, and I appreciate you for hanging out with me. Catch you in the next one. And we're back with the legend, Brad Lea. If you don't know who Brad is, you're probably hiding underneath a rock. You probably live in a cave, or you don't have internet. You can always catch him on YouTube, Instagram, and every other social media platform. You really need to follow this guy because he has the potential to add that value on a daily basis by giving you that daily nugget that you're looking for that could potentially change your life. I'm honored to have Mr. Brad Lea as my guest on the show today. Brad, thanks for being here once again.
And it's my pleasure. My pleasure.
So I'd like to say that you're pretty much the grandmaster, the sensei when it comes to mastering the art of sales, negotiation, and more important, closing a deal. I've watched multiple videos of yours, and it's really helped me work through it. At one point in time, I don't want to say I wasn't comfortable getting on a call or dealing with new people. It's what I do for a living. I have the gift of gab and definitely feel more comfortable. But you definitely help identify so many different ways in connecting with people. Whether you like it or not, sales is essentially a skill which is so important in our life that you adopt consciously or unconsciously. And people often talk about hating sales, being sold to, or you're being too salesy. What makes you and your technique so masterful at the art of sale and closing that deal?
Well, because I'm not really trying to sell them anything. I'm trying to help them. See? And if someone's legitimately and authentically trying to help you, the relationship gets built stronger and quicker. So out of all the salespeople in the world, I always tell them, if you really want to sell more, stop selling at all. Start helping people. Don't be a salesperson, be a help person.
Add value.
Well, I mean, add value. You hear that everywhere. That's kind of cliche nonsense. But, you know, technically it's true, add value. But the question is how do you add value, right? I mean, everybody knows to add value. What is value, though? Like, people call me and they're like, you know, hey, Brad, how can I add value? And I think to myself, dude, you just called me to ask me a question that would help you. What's the question? How do I add value? Well, if I told you how to add value, you just got something valuable from me before you even added any value. So by asking somebody, how do I add value? You're already subtracting value. You're already causing them to think, causing them to work, you're asking them for something valuable before you've given anything valuable. So in my opinion, you try to approach these relationships by looking to help them, which would cause you to ask good questions and listen to the answer and figure out what you're going to value about my product or service. Because if you really want to make an exchange, all you do is raise the value of the product or service higher than the value they have for their money. So you have to ask questions, and if people's guard is up, they won't answer them as easily. So you use personality and humor and like openness and authenticity and confidence to have a conversation. You know, there's no, you know, shady-eyed salespeople, you know, trying to get in your pockets. There's people trying to help you figure out the solution to whatever problem you're having. Does that make sense?
Listen, I'm in real estate, and I really don't even believe that I sell real estate half of the time anyways. It's really about the relationship that I have with the people and the ability to be able to connect with people via the technology that we have today. You can connect with people all over the world. You can see them face to face and interact with them quite easily. And I love that you said that, because it actually solidifies my belief system in this whole process. You know, when people say, you know, why should I buy this? Or, you know, I'm looking to do that. I'm basically trying to solve a problem for somebody. And you're right. If you can solve that problem greater than them letting go of the money that they have in their pocket, they'd be more than willing to work with you and purchase, if not one, more than one of those properties as well too. And I've seen that happen before.
100%.
You know, you often talk about mentors and how important they are. You know, Tony Robbins often says success breeds success, and success also leaves clues. You know, I think the beauty for you producing as much content as you do is that you actually share a lot of those, what seemed to be at one point in time when there wasn't enough technology out there to share this material, secrets that wealthier people held closer to themselves. Why are mentors imperative to helping an individual accelerate their success?
Well, obviously, because you're getting the insight and advantage of their knowledge, so you don't have to go out and learn everything yourself. You know, why not ask for help? Why not ask for directions? Why not use a map? You think you would get somewhere quicker with a map or without a map if you had no idea where you were going?
But would you agree that you wouldn't want to go up to someone who is a lot more successful than you and just ask them for the advice, but try and actually near them and be of service to them, so that around their space, by spending more time with them, you can take advantage of that mentorship that comes along? You know, I heard a phrase once that goes like this: don't focus on earning, focus on learning. And focus on being in rooms where you can be with the top dogs that can allow you to do that.
Well, if you learn the right stuff, the L disappears.
Like that.
I mean, again, selling and closing and influencing people is usually and generally looked at as a negative thing. Like, oh, you know, you're screwing people. You're freaking somehow harming people. Why? Because you have the ability to close, sell, and persuade and influence them into what you want. It's just like naturally a negative thing, when in reality it's like, if you could fly, would you want to?
Of course.
If you could read people's minds, would you want to?
Of course.
You could see through walls, would you want to?
So what would your superpower be?
If you could hear conversations at 5 miles away if you wanted to, would you want to?
Of course.
Okay, so you'd want all these superpowers, but the ability to get someone to do what you want them to do is a bad thing. It's not. It's a skill set that if everyone possessed, their life would improve. Because it's not just about selling products and services. It's about selling yourself. It's about selling ideas. It's about selling, your wife or your husband on the vision and the picture that you want on staying together. You're selling regardless. So why not get good at it?
And what I appreciate most about you is literally how raw and authentic you can be. When you're communicating a concept, a thought, it really resonates when you speak it. And one of the things that I've learned and essentially emulated from watching you is just that we live in a world where everything is highly transparent. And more importantly, authenticity is a topic that is often spoken about, and you can connect with people that share this ability that you have as well too. You make people, in my opinion, look at why they can't do something, or more importantly, how it's actually possible. And I really, really appreciate that. It made me think of a question, which is, in your opinion, what do you think is the biggest setback that holds a person from being successful? Is it authenticity?
Mindset. If you fix the mindset, you'll be smart enough and positioned to get the skill set. And if you get the skill set, now you just form the habits. So you start with the mindset, then you acquire the skill sets, then you form the habits, and you'll be unstoppable.
So when it comes to, for example, dominating social media and building a reputation and a brand, it seems like that's the first place a lot of people start when it comes to the reputation of selling your product and your service. Do you think that today, more than ever, being authentic and telling it the way it is, just like you do, has to be the first place to start? Your brand, your business, being authentic, connecting with people.
Well, dude, I mean, you just rattled off a bunch of things. Like, that's a bunch of things. So be more specific.
We live in a world where the transparency of creating a brand starts on social media. And a lot of what we see in terms of the businesses and the services are not really what they appear to be. But when I look at somebody like you or listen to you on a Clubhouse, what you hear, what you see is what you get. It's as raw as ever. And it makes me go, you know what? I want to line up with this guy and I want to buy what he's selling.
Try it. Let's try it right now.
Let's do it.
Like, forget that you're on a radio show. And just chit chat, talk. Tell me your opinions, your thoughts, your nuggets, your wisdom. Like, you literally forget that there's a camera on. You forget that this is going to be on social media. Too many people are out there trying to figure out what to say rather than, being the content. Like be the content. I am the content. Like a camera just runs on me, whether I'm taking a call or dealing with an employee or closing a deal or dreaming up a new business or sitting with lawyers or sitting with accountants or whatever it is I'm doing, buying a new car, whatever it is I'm doing, the camera's on me. That is the content. I'm not thinking about what to put out there so everybody thinks I'm brilliant. And when I'm talking, the reason it sounds so real is because it is real. It is real. Like what you're seeing is what I'm doing. See what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Couldn't agree with you more.
Most people are out there trying to figure out what to say to sound intelligent, what to say to be liked, and when you see somebody like me, that I'm not necessarily trying to be liked, even though I like being liked, but at the end of the day, I'm not trying to be liked. I'm not trying to say something so that you have a particular opinion or thought. All I'm doing is talking and doing whatever it is I'm doing. Now, when people ask questions on the internet about success and business and life and sales, I just realized that some of the things I've learned, I would think people know, but they don't. And it's crazy. Like brush your teeth. Okay? A lot of people walk up to somebody prepared to give a proposal or or form a relationship or close a deal or whatever the case may be, and their breath stinks. Now, have you ever talked to somebody whose breath was rancid? Yes or no?
100%.
Okay, did it not dawn on that person to brush their teeth? And then it goes back to preparation. Like, how prepared are we? We get up every morning, and a lot of us are just floating through life. There's no real preparation. Like, you leave your house looking like that? Like, was that the best shirt you could find? Was that the best shoes you could find? Was that the best you could look? And if the answer is, well, no, who cares? Exactly. That's the problem. You need to care, right? I got a shirt that says IDGAF. And everybody thinks it means I don't give a. But it means I do. Okay? And you should try to. Like, try caring a little bit about everything that makes common sense common. Like, you're going to get judged. Do we agree?
Yes.
Is that common sense?
100%.
You're going to judge your brother. If you don't know that, you're smoking something. Okay? At the end of the day, we're getting judged on a regular basis by everybody. And we're judging too. Okay? Well, the Bible says, dude, listen, obviously no one's listening to that verse or that chapter, because let me tell you something. People are judging. Now, if you know people are going to be judging you, why would you not put your best foot forward? Why would you not intentionally and consciously look your best, feel your best, think your best? Why would you not seek new information and start reading a lot so you can be well-read and intelligent? Why wouldn't you, develop yourself into somebody more valuable on a regular basis? Now, if someone's like, well, I don't know, I've never thought about it. Exactly. We don't think anymore, which is why we should seek new information on a regular basis. If you literally seek new information every single day, what that does is it causes you to think. And when you start to think, you start to question, you start to freaking answer, and you start to know yourself a little bit more, and you start to figure out where you fall. And now you start to understand a little bit more about the world. There's books out there you can read every single day. They're cheap or damn near free now. And yet people are not seeking new information. Because if you want to change what you're getting, you got to change what you're doing. And in order to change what you're doing, you got to change what you believe. And the only way to change what you believe is to get new information to cause you to change it. And you have to change it if you want to change your actions, because the reason you do what you do is your belief system. So you have to literally form new beliefs, and the only way to form new beliefs is getting new information. So why wouldn't we actively seek it every day?
Yeah, absolutely right.
It's common sense.
And if you want to start with more common sense, the book that you need to go out and buy right now, today, is Lessons That I've Learned the Hard Way So You Don't Have to. Brad Lea's new book.
Hey, now see, we were trying an exercise, and you're failing. How are you failing? Because you wouldn't have said that if me and you were just talking.
Absolutely, but I'm on the radio and I was just trying to plug your book.
No, you're saying that for the benefit of the benefit of me actually to sell books. But at the end of the day, you're saying that to these audience members. Like, let's just have a conversation where you're you.
Here, Brad, gone.
Forget those.
I was just trying to plug the book for the radio so that you can get some more sales over here.
Questions you want to ask.
All right, here we go.
Give the responses you want to give. And I ask you, please, to hold down any curse words because it is the radio.
No, thank you, sir. I appreciate it. So we're talking about belief systems and changing your mindset. And it's a topic that's very dear to my heart because in the most recent time period that I have been engaging in the radio and venturing into new business ventures, one of the things that I've realized that when I've changed the way that I've looked at things, the things that I've looked at changed. And I made a shift by collapsing an old story that I've been carrying around for the last 40 odd years. And in doing so, it has basically cleared a clear canvas for me to go out and achieve a tremendous amount of success within a very short period of time. And I have to say this vulnerably, that I really didn't think that I was carrying a limiting belief system that caused a mindset that really didn't cause me to expand into who I really was as a person.
Of course you didn't think so, bro. It's subconscious. That means below awareness.
And then the minute I did, guess what happened? Everything opened up and all the opportunities came into existence. And you know,
Now, was that rocket science?
no, sir, it wasn't. But I'll tell you one thing: when the student is ready, the master appeared. And I got to tell you, I've been wanting to have this interview with you for over a year, and the timing couldn't have been more right than this very moment, in this moment in time. And I thank you for that.
Follow up works.
A lot, and persistent works. And I got to tell you, you know, some of the changes that have happened is by having, you know, people that basically show up, messages that show up. We talk about educating yourself. We talk about, you know, becoming the best version of yourself for you, your family, your kids, and the people that you're serving in your business, etc. What are some of the things that you can share with us or teach us today that have really kind of impacted your life to really cause a difference with the people that you're working with in terms of just that, adding new belief systems? I want to know what belief systems we should focus on to be the best versions of ourselves.
Again, I mean, there are no belief systems. Everyone has their own. Like, you know, and you form those throughout your life. So everyone has their own, just like a thumbprint. So you need to go back and assess where you made an agreement with somebody that said you're not, you know, worthy. Now, if someone says, well, I think I'm worthy, well, again, worthy of what? Worthy of what you're making? Of course you think you're worthy of what you're making, which is why you're making what you're making. If you thought you were worthy of more, guess what? You'd be making more. The reason you make what you make is because you're never going to outperform your own self-image. So wouldn't common sense tell somebody, well, how do I build up that self-image then? Exactly. So you build up the self-image, and the next thing you know, you're going to start believing different things, aren't you? About yourself. You're going to believe new things about yourself, and that those new things are going to change how you carry yourself, how you respond, how you think. So there's no belief system that you need to adopt. You need to go back and create yours to reflect optimism, positivity. You know, there's a perspective to everything. You know, these two kids are sitting there and they say, okay, let's do an experiment. One's a rich kid, one's a poor kid. So they put the rich kid in a room, they put the poor kid in a room, and the rooms were both filled with horse manure. And so they, after an hour, go check on the rich kid, and he's just madder than a hornet. They say, what's the problem? He says, you put me in a room that stinks, it's filled to the rim with horse manure. Why would you do this to me? And he was crying and upset. And so they go over to the poor kid, and the kid's in there playing, throwing it around. And they're like, what are you doing, little guy? And the kid turned around and said, what do you mean? They said, why are you so happy? What are you doing? He says, with all this manure, there's got to be a pony in here somewhere. So this kid, completely happy, exact same situation. This kid, completely pissed, exact same situation. What's the difference? Perspective. The difference is one was hopeful and optimistic. One wasn't. Now, someone could say, well, there was no horses in the room, so guess what? He would have found that out eventually and been depressed. How do you know that there's no horses in the room? See, I didn't mention if there was a pony in there or not. You're already thinking limited. You're already thinking negative. You have to catch yourself when you start thinking negatively. Like, it's easy to do. And what's crazy is our whole lives have went by and everything's been recorded. Your subconscious remembers every smell, every sound, every name. It remembers. It's there. The question is do you remember? Can you recall? No, because it's in the subconscious. That's below awareness. So if you can go down into the subconscious mind, well, now it would be the conscious mind. Why? Because now you're aware of it. So how does the subconscious mind work? Through emotion and through affirmation and through belief system. So if you cause yourself to believe something, whether it's true or false, okay, your subconscious literally steers you to it. It's almost like the subconscious mind, dude, is there to make you correct. It wants to make you correct. So when you have like confirmation bias, when you like a particular president, you'll zoom in on all the things the other president's doing that's bad. You don't look at what that president's doing that's bad. You have confirmation bias. You're looking for confirmation for your opinion, right? So we do that just naturally. So at the end of the day, if you can just understand that it's subconscious, and the only way to change the subconscious, you can't erase the memories, but you can replace the memories, right? You can't erase that you were thinking negatively, but you can start thinking positively. See what I'm saying? Like, you can now replace those memories. So if one person understood what I just said, which a lot of people I'm sure did, because it's pretty simple to understand, but if one person applied what I just said, they're going to come back and say what you just said, which is, as soon as I went like this, my whole life changed. Right. That's why I say you want to be unstoppable. Mindset, start with the mindset. Then go to the skill set. Then go to the habits. Like, you can start no matter how old you are. Okay? You get the mindset right? You get the belief system in check? Okay, now you go acquire the skill sets. Well, what skill sets, Brad? Whatever skill sets are necessary to arrive at your destination. Have you not decided where you want to go? Do you not know where you're going in life? Do you not have an intended, desired, destination? Why? Take the time and think about it. And by the way, you get to decide. Don't limit yourself. Like, why limit yourself? Well, I didn't graduate high school. Who gives a rat's ass?
And that we might have to bleep that one out, but it's okay. You'll get one on the show.
Ass is not a cuss word. That is the description of a donkey or a mule.
You're right. I think you're good to go on that one. I got a thumbs up from the producer. Brad, do you have any habits that you follow on a daily basis? Any rituals that you do?
I do.
Tell me. I want to hear about it.
What do you think I do? Tell everyone what to do and don't do it myself?
I want to hear it.
In actuality, I do that sometimes. Sometimes I'm giving out the best advice on planet Earth, but I'm not following it myself. Like, for example, smoking cigars. The best advice on Earth is don't do it.
But you enjoy it.
Prematurely ages your skin. There's all kinds of reasons not to do it. But here's my belief about it. Number one, none of us are going to make it out alive, right? And I think when the day comes, if it's because of that cigar, well, then I'm gonna pay the price early. But you're still paying the price with no cigar, okay? You're still gonna pay the price if you lived a humdrum life, didn't experience anything, and on your deathbed, all you are is filled with regret because you didn't do a bunch of things you should have or could have. And I'll bet you anything, when you're old, like old, on your deathbed, like naturally dying, you're thinking back like, I've wasted my entire life. I could have been so much more, but you won't realize it until you're that old. So that's the whole thing. It's like, why do we need to wait until we learn it to learn it? Like, start asking old people, start asking other people. Read my book, The Hard Way. There's lessons I learned the hard way so you don't have to, right? There's things in there with tactical frameworks that you can apply to your life, and within 120 days, man, your whole life will be different. And your whole belief system will be different. Why? Well, because, follow what I'm telling you in that book and apply. And there's no question. It's just like, run 5 miles a day, and I bet you're not fat.
There you have it, folks. Pearls of wisdom from the bomb dropper himself, Brad Lea. So while you're enjoying your life, go out, smoke that cigar, enjoy that tequila, drink that beautiful scotch that you enjoy, and live your life to the fullest.
Within reason, folks.
Within reason.
Moderation is the key. Moderation is the key. Write that down. Moderation is the key. Don't go obsessively into anything that's knowingly bad for you. Like alcohol. Dude, I used to get blackout drunk. Matter of fact, the only reason I would go out and have drinks is to get drunk. Like, the purpose was to go get drunk, party, have a good time, tear it up, whatever you want to call it. That was the purpose, right? Well, Now I'm a little bit older, and I'm like, well, I don't want to get hungover and tore up anymore.
It just ruins your day the next day.
Yeah, someone says, hey, let's go get a drink. I think to myself, I'll just freaking drink water or an iced tea. Why? Well, because number one, alcohol is literally poison to your body. Literally. Number two, it's not a party night. In other words, I'm not celebrating anything and I'm not getting tore up. So why drink at all? Well, can't you just have one or two drinks? Well, sure, I can have one or two drinks, and sometimes I do. But the point is why? Well, I didn't used to think that. So why do I say all this? Because, guys, it's imperative to change, and most people are afraid of it. They want the comfort of knowing what's going to happen. They want the comfort of consistency and reliability, and they view risk as something scary when risk is usually, the way I see it, opportunity. Like, look at every opportunity out there. Well, it's risky. Well, dude, measure the risk. Are you going to get screwed? I guarantee you'll get screwed. Should that stop you? Absolutely not. Are you going to trust the wrong people? Of course you are. Who cares? What's the problem? Reach out. Try to see if anybody else knows the route. If they know the route, take the route they're telling you to take. Avoid the potholes, but decide where you want to go and let's get there. You don't want to be 98 years old and look back and say to yourself, freaking, man, I could have done way more. I could have been way more. I just didn't for some reason. You don't want to do that. You want to be, laying there, thinking, what a wonderful, wonderful life I've had. I drove Ferraris. I flew private. I freaking helped children. I freaking built schools. I freaking, whatever it is you dream of, man, go do it.
And you're always breaking new frontiers. And I got to tell you, talking about risk and being really kind of out there, I think one of the maybe scariest thing for a lot of people to do is not only just get up on stage, but you actually did a live comedy stand-up, which I saw. Actually, our friend David's like, did you see Brad last night? He sent me this video. You need to go on YouTube and check it out. It was really funny, man. Like, you're a funny dude, man.
Is if other people thought you sucked, correct?
Correct.
And if that is completely unimportant or even on your radar, because you have the right mindset, how would you have bombed?
The world opens up to you and everything becomes possible.
It would be impossible to bomb unless you give the opinion to the crowd. Now, again, there's people out there that are going to hear this and say, well, that's whose opinion it is. Well, exactly. That's called the market. The market will decide. However, you need to be your own fan and your own critic. You need to compete with yourself, not somebody else, right? So all I'm trying to say is, if you get up on a stand-up comedy show and you, quote unquote, bomb, what does that mean? That means other people thought you sucked. Other people didn't think you were funny. Other people decided something about your performance, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, so if you don't acknowledge other people's opinion and you formed your own and you thought you did amazing and you really believe that, buddy, you didn't bomb. Okay, you only bomb when you agree with the audience that you did. And again, the whole audience could agree, oh, he bombed. But if you do not agree, then you didn't bomb. Okay, it's true in life, bro.
Absolutely.
Like people have to have that kind of belief in themselves. Now, again, I'm not talking about someone that thinks they can sing and they can't. Why? Because, well, they're not good singers. Well, based on whose opinion? Based on the whole wide world. Okay, that just means you're not going to make any money at it. It doesn't mean you shouldn't sing.
If you want to sing, go out and sing.
Exactly. If the whole world thought you sucked, all that means is you're not going to be able to sell records. It doesn't mean, and by the way, maybe you can sell records to people that like, cackling. Who knows? But my point is, just because the whole world decides something doesn't mean you have to agree with it. That's all I'm saying.
So final.
You don't have to agree with anything that you don't want to agree with. And so if someone just understands, I don't have to agree with that, then just stop agreeing with negative nonsense. Limitations. Stop agreeing to whole life. Those are the agreements that you've made your whole life. And that's why you're thinking those things. Well, how do I change that? Well, you change it by going and starting to read things. You know, there's books on miracles, right? There's books on freaking health. There's books on sales. There's books on human behavior. There's books on spirituality. There's books out there. Knowledge. Knowledge from where? From people 100 years ago. From people 20 years ago. Like, from people of today. Like, at the end of the day, man, seek knowledge. Get more valuable.
But that's what you do, right?
That's how you change your mindset. You build it.
The wisdom of the ages have basically said very much the same thing that you say on a regular basis. And I think that's the reason why you connect with people on a day-to-day basis. You keep it simple. You break it down for them, and you literally bust science and drop bombs on them all the time. And I'm not, there's no pun intended there. I think that's part of the reason why, in particular, people connect with what you have to share. And Brad...
Well, good. I'm glad they do. Not very many, though. I only have 550,000 followers. I should have like 500 million.
Well, hopefully in Orlando, we're going to increase that by at least a few 100,000. So let's see how that goes.
All right. That'd be great. Come on, Orlando.
Let's do it.
Show me, hey, Orlando, show me you listen to the show. Wherever you're listening to the show, prove to me that you listen to the show by either following me or at least hashtagging the show and tagging me. So I'm like, damn.
It happened. That's it.
For all I know, there's 18 people in their cars right now, and that's it.
Well, there's 18 people and everybody on social media that's watching this because we're recording this live. If you want to catch Brad, go visit his website, which is www.thebradlea.com. You can always catch him on Twitter, Instagram, The Real Brad Lea, and YouTube, VT Brad Lea. Brad, thanks for being a guest on my show. It's been an honor. I've been waiting for this for a long time, and I appreciate you being my guest.
My pleasure, man. It was fun.
Everybody, I want to thank Brad for being a part of our show, and we look forward to hosting you in Orlando the next time you come and visit. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video and you found it helpful, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more real estate tips and market updates. Don't forget to hit the bell icon so you never miss a new video that we post. If you have any questions or topics you'd like us to cover, drop a comment below. I'm Dawood Bedrosian, and I'll see you in the next video.